Hello, folks. Welcome to our Sumo Logic webinar on Cloud SIEM Enterprise. I'm Dana Torgersen, Product Marketing Director for our Security Business Unit here at Sumo Logic. I want to welcome you folks today. But before I get started on our topic of Cloud SIEM Enterprise and give you a quick explanation of what it is and the use cases it covers, as well as I want to give you guys a live demo of the actual user interface of what it would look like in a day in the life as you're trying to, apply this analytics and automation to your SecOps workflows. A little bit of housekeeping. This webinar is being recorded live here. I'm going to take some time at the end of the webinar today for any questions that you may have. And while I'm speaking, feel free to click the Q&A button in the webinar window here and jot down your question. I'll try to get to as many of them as we can at the end. We've allotted 30 minutes here, and I want to ensure that I can get you folks on to your next meeting in time. So I'm going to probably do a quick breeze through here and again, ask any questions that you want along the way. So with that, we'll get started here. So basically, when we talk to folks out there in enterprises and organizations and state and local governments, we keep hearing these pain points that are pretty consistent, and we want to make sure that explain them to you folks here as well, because I want to know that this does apply to you too. I'm pretty sure it does, because there's a lot of consistency happening here. But it comes down to basically three key things here, three challenges of why security operations and your SOC workflows, something's got to change. The first pain here is when you think about cloud transformation and all the migration and the spending. It's growing at a 6x pace of your general IT spending, according to McKinsey. All these workloads going to the cloud, and here the legacy SIEMs and other security tools, they were never built for the cloud. And so now the result, you've got more gaps in visibility than ever before. And if you think about the threat landscape and how it's shifted and changed with these, again, these apps are continuously migrating to the cloud with our cloud transformation efforts that businesses are undergoing. And the fact that a simple misconfiguration could lead to a major data breach, and the attack surface as a result has just exploded too with migration and digital transformation. You've got so many different devices. You still have mobile devices, IoT, but now you've got multi-cloud environments. You've got containerization, modern apps like load balancing, VPC flows that you're tracking and monitoring, microservices, continuous delivery. This is how much the attack surface has grown. And don't even factor into that the new environment that we live in, this new normal of working from home too, and the attack surface that has changed instantaneously just with that back earlier this year. But this last piece, this last pain point on the right, is the one that seems to be the most tangible, the most visceral, and is also the most felt and measured by security operations team. And that is the fact that there's just so many alerts and security alerts that we just can't get to them all. Investigation processes are generally slow and inefficient. It could take one day to create a dashboard to reflect one metric from just one tool. And orgs are struggling. They can't determine mean time to detect using their existing solutions. Also, and this kind of gets back to the first point too, with the fact that some of these tools and security stack items weren't built for the cloud. You've got a lack of tool integrations too. So now you're sitting on multiple consoles. You have alerts coming in without any correlation for your investigative purposes. And of course, you're bound to have false alerts too, if not the majority of the chasing there. And unfortunately, outsourcing SecOps workloads, it just doesn't always help. We're always hearing from folks saying that I'm not getting any value out of my MSSP. All these, 98% of these alerts that we're getting are false positives. What this really is meaning is that this is no longer a human skill problem, folks. This is not something that we can hire your way out of. And some of you get it, and I think you've already gone down that path, and you realize that there needs to be something different. This is why we're encouraging folks, you need to be able to modernize your SecOps with a modern SaaS SIEM. And that's because none of the traditional approaches, like a legacy SIEM, outsourcing, hiring more experts, will work in your modern SOC. Organizations, they need a modern SaaS SIEM to be able to secure your cloud journey, to be able to match the changing attack surface, and also be able to bring innovation back into your SOC. So I'm talking about a modern SaaS SIEM. What is a modern SaaS SIEM? What does it involve? What does it include? Well, I've developed this eye chart for you folks to test your eyesight. But basically, I've got a left and a center and a right. I look at it as three lenses. And really, these pillars or lenses are what's necessary. You have to have a cloud native architecture. This is not the time for cloud adapted, where you're lifting and shifting your on-prem code and then shoving it into a single tenant instance on a public cloud provider. It has to be designed and built from the ground up to be cloud native to take advantage of things like multi-tenant elastic scalability. I've called out in blue here items that are absolutely unique to Sumo Logic and to our offering of our SaaS SIEM, and the other items are just table stakes items that we deliver. So when I'm thinking about cloud native lens, you also have this single solution, the single platform that multiple different users can work off of. SecOps team, DevOps team, and IT ops, AI ops, and onward. There's no you shouldn't be charging people for the usage per user. Being cloud provider agnostic is highly unique for us too. We're not hamstrung in creating vendor lock-in, but we actually support multi-cloud and hybrid deployments. If I think about the middle lens here, this is key as well, to be able to automate security operations. The unique thing, the unique problem that we've actually been able to solve amongst covering all these other use cases is that handling of that alert fatigue and being able to get automated alert triage and convert those alerts into actionable insights. I'm excited. I want to show you that in the demo here today, folks, along with automatically enriching threats and invisibility with additional data and third-party data and out-of-box security content that's ready to go to provide rapid time to value. And we do that across hundreds of partners and technology vendors, integrating threat intelligence. Then you have better context of your incidents as well. But the one on the right, the modern analyst experience, this is where we have this highly tuned modern user interface that you're about to see, built for security analysts by security analysts. And that's important too, because that's how we're able to streamline those workflows specifically to the analysts and to your needs, making sure that everybody's playing from the same songbook here with the same collaboration tool and with event management, making sure all of these events and critical incidents are all being worked together as a team and not down some loss of context or rabbit hole that's a separate bucket or tool set. You're all working from the same page. With the ability, you're doing deep search for complex data sets and you're distilling down large data volumes to get precise insights, and you do it very easily, very rapidly as well. So our security intelligence with Sumo Logic portfolio really includes two key solutions. So our continuous intelligence platform, I'm showing here, this is our foundational, it's a cloud native platform customers use as their central log management solution for their security and compliance use cases. Now, maybe on some smaller size organizations, this is their actual, primary SIEM that they're using it as, and they're fulfilling their needs. But on larger enterprises, this platform is really the foundational piece with elastic scaling logging solution, the ability to create and save and share out dashboards across their security team, their orgs, the entire org, or even publicly creating dashboards as well. And then the functionality that comes with that is the fact you've got a spectrum. You could maybe just want to store your logs and have data tiering, or you're trying to do extensive log querying, or you want to go into investigation and use our analytics-based tools, drawing upon our rich app context that we deliver included in the product for cloud and modern apps to get that content into the platform. And again, unifying folks, bringing them together, making sure they're all singing from the same page in a one single platform across all the teams. So you're all using the same data set. Well, that's great. But today I'm talking to you folks about Cloud SIEM Enterprise. This is our add-on to this platform. This is what is our cloud native SIEM. And this brings to bear all these additional features on top of our continuous intelligence platform. So we've got automated triage and prioritization. We are the only solution that focuses on addressing the problem of alert fatigue. And we're automatically processing alerts, and then we're guiding your security analysts to these critical incidents that they should be immediately addressing. So we're taking millions of records a day, and we whittle that down to thousands of alerts per day, and then we group related signals, as we call them, into a handful of insights, and that represents those critical incidents. We also have the aggregation breadth and plus enrichment. We're doing the work of taking all those sources across your logs, your alerts, your network traffic. We haven't included a Zeek network sensor for deep packet inspection and file carving. I'll mention that later in the content. We've got asset inventories as well, taking in user access data from Active Directory, from your EDR events, and more. And it's that rich out-of-box content, ingesting a broad range of sources, more than 300 rules actually, ready to make sense of all that data that's pulling in as well. And then, as you can see on the right-hand side here, this is this persona-driven, built by analysts for analysts, modern security user experience that we've produced. And so, really, I want to flip over now here and show you what this looks like in action. This is how you're going to have correlation-based threat detection, the ability to automatically triage alerts, thousands and hundreds of thousands of alerts you're getting every day, depending on the size of your organization, into just a handful of these insights, as we call them, which is our opinionated view of something that is a critical incident and needs your immediate time and attention. Bringing in all that additional context for threat investigations across your network, your user information, and your entities and devices. And as you can see on the right here, truly a highly tuned user interface that's ready to go and is walking your analysts through and keeping their focus and attention on the mission at hand. So with that, let me flip over here and I'm going to bring up the demo. And I think that is right here. All right, here you go, folks. So this is, make sure I'm in the right unit. Yeah, I am. This is the Cloud SIEM Enterprise user interface. We refer to this as the HUD. It's short for basically the heads-up display. Now, as you're looking at this page, and this is a page that a lot of customers choose to actually put up on their SOC walls, so they can get this visually focused view of exactly what's happening within their network and across their entire enterprise and across their cloud environments, all in one single view here. So let me walk you through and kind of unpack what we're looking at here. We have a timestamp of today's date. I get to see a view of what we're looking at for data. And as the data, I'll talk to in a second here, changes from a 24-hour view automatically to a 72-hour view. Looks like we've got some green, some yellow, and some red triangles showing up here. Those are insights. And you can punch it all the way out to a 7-day view. As you can see, each time I'm changing the view, the page is dynamically updating. Also, the page is pushing updates and refreshing all the time. I don't have to hit my browser refresh or space bar or anything like that. We're pushing that all the time. What I've been changing this as I've gone along here is the number of raw records that we've brought in and normalized. There are 85 million of those. And we've taken your structured and your unstructured data, and we've been able to parse it, and we've mapped it, and now we've brought it in. So there's 85 million records over a 72-hour period that we've whittled that down to what others might call alerts, but we've actually enriched it with additional information and third-party data. And so we're calling that signals with that context that we have because we're pulling in from other sensors or collectors that you can optionally choose to take advantage of, like our network collector and Active Directory collector. Those signals, we've gone from 85 million down to 295,000. And both of those are actually up in the last period of time, up 28% in records, and we're up just slightly under 1% for signals. Now, this is where traditional legacy SIEMs, even so-called next-gen SIEMs, stop. This is what keeps Sumo Logic unique, is that our Cloud SIEM Enterprise, oh, look at it, see it's auto-updating here. The Sumo Logic Cloud SIEM Enterprise goes beyond that, and we're actually whittling down these signals. I don't know, in a 72-hour period, even if we go back to a 24-hour period, folks, 99,000 signals coming through. I don't know who and what SOC team has enough time to actually address and validate and start the investigation of 99,000 threats in a single day. What we're doing is we're going beyond that, and we're actually creating these insights, which is our opinionated view of critical incidents that need your immediate time and attention, say 7 a.m. on a Monday morning, right? And so these insights, 6 insights, that's much more manageable to get to. The product solution still allows you to go back and look at all the other signals. If you've got the time, we've got a page that takes you directly there to look at 295,000 in the last 72 hours. Of course, there's many more depending on how long this deployment has been running. This is a demo environment of mine. but it's these 6 that you can get to. Now, these are also represented in this center mass, the insight radar. Going from top 12 o'clock position here, clockwise around the horn, we have different information that's being displayed. So we talked about records. Here's the records. This blue line, according to the legend, is moving around, and you can show the ingestion of those records as they're coming in with the different timestamps along the way. Signals, 295,000 signals represented by these blue or cyan colored bars that show up. Each one of these, again, from a 12 o'clock position for the time frame of, in this case, 72 hours, are appearing. 4,084 signals, 4,066 signals, all these different signals firing. In a real production environment, I'm sure this would look a lot different for you folks, and it would start to be quite alarming when there's a lot of signals firing. This looks a little too consistent for my taste, but in large enterprise production environments, it would be much more telling, much more dynamic to see that. But speaking of telling and dynamic, in the center here are these triangles that represent insights, and they'll show up in different sizes based on severity. And they're also now, in the last release that we updated, they have different colors coded to them. So I can see that there are 3 insights that have been closed, thus they're green, they're good. And this apparently happened between June 21st for a 1.5 hour, 90-minute period. There was 3 insights that had come up, and in that sometime in the last 72 hours, those 3 have been closed. So that's good. So I can move on as an analyst. Here is one insight that's apparently being worked right now. It's in progress. So that's great. And this was another period of time over the night from June 22nd from 12:30 to 2 in the morning. I believe these times are probably Pacific. Then I get to here, and this is a set of, because of the time frame, they're collapsed down onto 1, and it's showing the red one because that's most important. We want to make sure that you know that there's a new insight to look at. But there's also, in this same time period, another insight, one that was in progress. So that's an opportunity to drill down on that. We've got a lot more information here on the page that is great to have at your fingertips. You can see the sensors and the different status of the sensors that are coming through. Network sensor, Active Directory sensor. You can see the different data that's coming through, whether it's online. If a sensor shows up as red, that probably means it's been knocked off for whatever reason. There's no records flowing. Allows you to drill down and find it. If a sensor shows up as yellow or amber colored, that's giving you an alert that, hey, this sensor probably has an update. Or there might be something that might not be configured correctly, in which case you can go dig into that. If I want to see more about the sensors, I can drill right down in to see all my sensors in one place here, and that's great. On the right-hand side here is also another reason that folks use this up on their SOC walls, is because they want to show all the different insight activities that are most recent. Like this one just flew in, or is intended to be the most recent one that flew in here. Again, this is a demo environment, so it might not be quite jiving with today's date and such. But we have an insight in a baseball card style view. We're seeing what the tactic is. This discovery and lateral movement was happening. We can see the entity and the IP address. All of our insights are pivoted off of an entity, which could be an IP address, a host name, or username. And so that's important here. Also, we can see the dwell time of this insight. This threat is made up of 13 different unique signals. It's spread over 8 days, moving from left to right. And then you can also see the severity of these different signals. These 13 signals are these little tiny diamonds that are showing up here. And as I hover, I can dynamically see what those signals were that made up this overall insight. I can review it. If this is something I've already looked at and I know that maybe it's a false positive, or maybe it's already been handled by somebody, I could close it. But this is just one of many that you can have. You can also, on the lower right-hand side here, see a bunch of status as your entire team, your entire SOC is working on items. You, as if you're on this on our webinar today, maybe you're a SOC manager or director of your SOC. First of all, welcome. Here's a great way that you can just see at a glance all the activities of what your team is working on. And this is just surfaced on this main heads-up display page. So let's get into what it actually looks like working a day in the life. If you're going to actually show up, you're sitting in the chair, you're bringing up Cloud SIEM Enterprise here from Sumo Logic, and you see these insights, you're going to want to drill down onto one. You're going to want to address probably the new one. Maybe this one's already being looked at by, okay, so a colleague of mine named James is working that one. Here's a Kanban style board view, as you can see. I'm working each of these different boards. These are all customizable. You can rename these titles to mimic or mirror whatever your team's workflows are as you're scrumming your way through or agiling your way through a board view here. We also have a tabular view too, if this more suits your style. And I'm only seeing a filtered view. I'm just looking at this one little view here. I could be looking at the main insights page and see all the insights that we've ever had across a board or tabular view. New, in progress, custom, closed. You can scroll through when you see something that you want to take ownership of. You can drag and drop it and put it into progress like so. But what I wanted to show is that when I'm drilling down and I'm actually looking at these two insights, and I want to go to the red one. This red one is unique. It's just shown up. We've given this unique identifier numbering sequence now, so it's easy to track and catalog them and take notes on them. Insight 12434, great. Execution and command control. I can see the entity that's involved here, the IP address, 2 days of duration, just 3 signals, so not a lot, but apparently they must have been important enough to fire and surface one of these insights. As I look at the details of that insight, I get to see a timeline view. Now again, there's only 3 signals here, and it looks like something happened, and then a couple of other things happened. Let's see, we had a FireEye CMS malware callback happened, which is, we map all of these to the MITRE attack framework. So the signal is mapped to MITRE's command and control stage. FireEye malware downloads, that's an execution stage, that's not good. And then a command and control, probably a callback, indicating that we've got one. So there we go again. So these severities happened. We've put them into the order of what was actually happening so that you can understand why we fired this. And so you get this timeline view. You could have, depending on the type of insight that was fired, different colors and shapes and sizes of different signals. It might be anomaly-based, threat intelligence-based, third-party feed-based, and it would just be all laid out in a timeline. Left to right is the date and time. Vertically is the severity of the actual signal. So sometimes you'll see insights where an awful lot of matter, a lot of signals are happening what I would below the level 5 of severity. Well, that represents great stealthy under the radar attacks. And that's why we're surfacing with the way that we are. This is why it's important to be able to send as much data as you can to get into the product so that you can actually then make sense of that. I know a lot of folks, because of cost overruns with other SIEM providers, that they've hedged their bet. They say, no, we're not going to send all the data. We're not going to send those particular logs or those security events because it would just cost us too much. But that's unfortunately where sometimes those low severity events that hit the floor are probably the ones that are actually telling you the story the best. But you just need the technology and the correlation across all of your sources to be able to stitch that story together. And that's what we do. And we do that automatically. So I have the ability, now that I see an insight that I do want to address, I can monitor, I can go down my signals here. This could be a whole list of multiple signals. I can drill down, I can actually see what that exactly event was, the severity of the event, the stage, again, to the MITRE attack control, MITRE attack framework, command and control. It was a content rule that actually triggered this particular signal. I can see all the metadata of what actually came through from that detection. And then down below, I'm getting now down into the record or records that make up this signal. So as you can see, I'm walking back, like I showed on the heads up display, from records to signals to insights. Now I'm working backwards from the insight that's interesting. Now I'm looking at the signals, and in this signal, it's made up of a record. And I can see that the record had we've timestamped it. It was a CMS malware callback from this source to that destination IP address. You can see the American flag kind of in the background there. So we have all the different country flags that show up subtly in the background, so you can quickly see who's going and communicating to where. And now we've got the source and the mapping. This is the source collector of where it came from, how it was mapped, thanks to FireEye. Thank you, folks. And this is using the central management system product. And then all the original fields are here at your disposal. And this is in an overview view. If you prefer to see a raw view, and this might be more to your taste or style, just with one click, now you can see it organized in that fashion that some of you might be more accustomed to. And if this is something that's extremely interesting, you've got another tool set you've invested in, you want to get it out of here and get it in your other tool, you can download or click here, either way, to pull down a CSV export or JSON export of this particular record or of the particular signal. Now, this whole time when I'm looking at this insight, I haven't lost my page of where I'm at. I'm still looking at this one insight made up of these different signals. I can click back and then see all my signals here again. But at the insight, at the umbrella view, here's where I can take actions. Now, some of these actions are automated, like when this insight was generated, it could have automatically triggered off different events and different automations for you. Or I have these on-demand actions that could be set up to be taken as well. And this could be a whole list of different actions that you could be sending an email to somebody, sending it off to Slack, sending it off to PagerDuty. You want to send it over to Demisto because you want a playbook to run. Great, we've got those integrations set up so you can pull that off. When you're done, you could be making comments here. You could be creating tags, which are easy to search for later. And then you can also, if this was not assigned to me, I could have assigned it to myself and taken ownership. Now I own it. The status, it's in progress, I'm working it. But when I'm really done, I close the insight. I choose my resolution of what it was. I've resolved it, I've taken care of it. Maybe it was a false positive. That's fine, that's great. And when you choose it as a false positive here, our solution is able to take that feedback and use that in our algorithm to know that, okay, we might have gotten that wrong. We can learn from that. Maybe there's no action needed, that's fine. Or there's maybe inadvertently, it was a duplicate to another insight that was created. Whatever the reason, duplicate insight, additional comments, and I close it out. And what does that mean? That means I get to move on with my day because there's a lot more insights waiting for me. Now, there's definitely a lot more signals waiting for you as well. You could be looking at these signals in just a last 7-day period. There was 704. I could pull that off and look even further back if I want. I can resort it by the event times. I could start searching for a particular signal based on a host of different filters. Maybe it's by a particular entity. Maybe it's by a particular entity type. Different stages of and severities is greater than a 10. I want to see all the 5s or better, and then start to look for those signals. And here we go. I got a suspicious DC login, domain controller login, CrowdStrike detection summary event. I can see the entity, the username, host names, IP addresses, and go through. But again, when you dig into the signals, which again is similar to what maybe a traditional SIEM would have called the alerts, there's a lot here. And so that's why we went further. We created this concept of insights to actually show you what matters most and to address it and work these like you're scrumming it out, like you're agiling it out so that you finally get to the area where they're all closed and you've just got a couple that are coming in new. And another item I wanted to be able to show you folks is this concept of being able to dig deeper into the records and the data. The environment that I just switched over did not have this records function turned on and attached to it, so that's why I've popped over here. But it's the same product, same solution I'm in. I haven't changed over. But this is a view in the last 15 minutes of 12,000 records that have come in. This has given me full power to really start to dig in here, because this is based on all these normalized records that we've performed upon ingestion. We did the parsing, we mapped it, and then we created these normalized records here, and we did that across your structured and the unstructured data that you brought into the Sumo Logic platform. Now you can still go into Sumo's core data repository and look for non-normalized data, like when you're trying to get more context around what else a user or entity or maybe an application or process is doing across your enterprise or in your public cloud environments. But using these different filters we've got here, you're able to quickly jump in and search for your records without needing to learn a query language. And so we've tried to make this as easy as we can and straightforward as we can. We're trying to remove the complexity as best as we can. And this effectively, folks, as I'm walking you through, is a day in the life using Cloud SIEM Enterprise as you go through. So let me switch back here real quick. I realize we're running up short on time here. We'll get to a couple of questions. The other point I wanted to make too before we end up today is, I've been talking about, how our modern SaaS SIEM, can improve your SOC workflows. We can eliminate the noise from thousands of alerts that are flooding in every day. But it's not just about technology. It's not just about knobs and switches, but it's the security experts who are ready to actually support you when you need it most. So Sumo Logic, we provide professional services with standard advanced quick start packages to get you up and running quickly. We also have Premium support. Premium support is able to give you a dedicated technical account manager, help you with onboarding quickly and address your success plan and actually execute towards that plan. But we can also really help you advance your capabilities with our Sumo Logic Special Operations or Spec Ops team. Now, this is a hand-picked elite team of cyber analysts from some of the top organizations in the world. Now, this team is actually available on demand, and they act as an extension of your team when you need them most too. They can support as well as mentor your team with the latest deep knowledge of the threat landscape as they perform their threat hunting. So at this point, I'll flip over here and we'll see if we can take a couple of quick questions. Thank you to those folks who have been hanging in there. I appreciate that. All right. Let's see what we've got here. Okay, is Cloud SIEM Enterprise available as a separate product? No, actually it's not. Our SaaS SIEM solution, it's available only as an add-on to our core Sumo offering, which we call our continuous intelligence platform. Now I see that we've got some of our existing Sumo customers attending today. So first of all, thank you for attending. I appreciate that. What's great for you folks on the line is you can actually talk to your Sumo account manager and discuss your upcoming security initiatives and use cases. And that way you can see if adding Cloud SIEM Enterprise is right for your needs. Now, for those of you attending today who are totally new to Sumo Logic, you would just simply deploy our platform with our SaaS SIEM enabled, and you would enjoy all the security use cases that we address, in addition to all of the operation and business intelligence monitoring and observability use cases that we cover for folks in DevOps and IT ops. So again, even though I'm talking about purely security use cases, that's my background, that's my passion. You have at your fingertips here, folks, a platform that is usable across all these different orgs within your enterprise and teams. So great question. Thank you for that. Okay, one last one. Okay, this has been asked a couple of times actually in different ways. I see here. How much does it cost? So yeah, for all pricing questions, I would rather you speak with your Sumo Logic sales account manager or your authorized Sumo reseller. But for now, you can head to sumologic.com/pricing, and there you'll see the different packages that we offer and an interactive tool to see how our credits-based model is set up and how it can provide the economic transparency and the flexibility, which is actually unique in the SaaS SIEM market to Sumo Logic. So we're very proud of that aspect. I do want to be conscious of time as I promised. So with that, folks, I want to thank you for your time. Again, I'm Dana Torgersen, Director of Product Marketing for our Security Business Unit here at Sumo Logic. And I hope you all have a great day. And thanks for attending.